'cause this is Thriller. I'm okay, thank you for asking. Hey there guys, my name's Megan if you're new here, and if not, welcome back for another spooky episode of Weirdo Wednesday. If you guys like all things true crime, UFO, supernatural, conspiracy theory, and all that good stuff in between, then please hit that subscribe button. Also feel free to leave your thoughts on this week's episode in the comments box below. Ooh, ooh, it's got a tail. Ooh, ooh, it's got a tail. So my wee freaks, I hope we're all ready. Have you got some snacks? Maybe a cheeky glass of wine, etc. If anyone's curious on what I'm having, no one cares. But I'll tell you anyway, I've got a little sexy bit of popcorn with the melted butter. As if that wasn't testing my arteries enough, I also have some Disaronno with a bit of cola. Tastes just like cherry cola. L-O-L-A. Did I just misspell Lola? Yes, I did. I'm also on number 3. Once I've finished my wee buffet of treats, there may also be a slice of apple pie and some ice cream in the fridge with my name on it. I'm gonna die before I'm 40, but it's okay. Now folks, tonight's story is downright terrifying, so I hope you've got a nappy on, or for you guys in the States, a diaper. A little fun fact about me, I've spent most of my adult life working in retail. Don't do it kids, it steals your soul. But as I've worked in retail for over 15 years, I've come accustomed to working with a lot of mannequins. Trust me guys, there's no fear like the palpitations and sweaty palms you'll get as you try to shove a rigid porcelain mannequin's hand into a £4,000 lace dress. What? So aside from that, I've yet to experience anything out of the ordinary with these shop mannequins. But with the Christmas season looming over us like a bad smell, I'm pretty sure that we can all recall a time where we've been admiring a gorgeous Christmas display and wondered to ourselves, has that mannequin held my gaze for just a wee second too long? Are they really watching you, or is it just an optical illusion? Have you ever been chatting with a friend outside of a store window and thought to yourself, was the mannequin's hand in that position a second ago? Most of us can't explain these things away as a trick of the light, or maybe our mind's playing tricks on us. However, what would you do if the most illogical explanation became the most logical one? This tale I'm about to tell you will leave you questioning quite a lot of things, but mainly the ultimate crime junkie rule. It's never just a mannequin. Tonight, boys and ghouls, we will be discussing the legend of La Pascualita, the real corpse bride. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. Our story today begins in the beautiful state of Chihuahua in Mexico. Oops, not that kind of Chihuahua. Get down. The beautiful area nestled within the Mexican desert has stunning architecture and an even more interesting history. Prior to being founded in 1709, Chihuahua was home to the Aztec people, and many of the foundations built then are still standing to this day. I will touch on the name briefly because I'm sure many of you are sitting there wondering, Chihuahua the state and Chihuahua the dog, are they connected? And yes they are, because it was once said that wild Chihuahuas would roam the streets of Chihuahua. Aztecs believed the small yappy dogs to be sacred, and they were even used in religious practices such as burial ceremonies. The dogs would be the guide for the dead into where they were planning to go in their next life, whether that was upstairs or down below. Also to be found in the streets of Chihuahua in 1930 was La Popular Bridal Shop. La Popular was known mainly for its bespoke and luxurious bridal gowns, all created by the store's owner, Pascuala Esparza. Pascuala adored her work. She literally lived and breathed for La Popular and also for her family. Early in 1930, Pascuala was working on something that meant just a little bit more to her than any of her other designs. You see, she was creating a wedding gown for her very own daughter. Not much is really known about Pasquala's youngest child. However, her resemblance to her mother could not be denied, and for that reason, locals gave her the affectionate nickname of La Pascualita, which loosely translates to Little Pasquala. On little Pasquala's wedding day, she carefully put on her lace gown and her handmade veil, each inch lovingly stitched by her own mother. But as our young bride admired herself in the mirror, a tiny black widow spider crept out of the chantilly lace and bit her on the back of her hand. Pasquala worked quickly to save her daughter, but unfortunately, the venom was quicker. Devastated by the death of her child, Pasquala closed up shop and many believed never to return until that was the 25th of March 1930. The curtains were open, the lights were on, but people noticed a difference in the window of La Popular. A mannequin. But not just any mannequin, you see, because this new feature bore a striking resemblance to another bride who was recently deceased. This mannequin looked so much like the shop owner's departed daughter that as locals walked by, one woman shrieked, "La Pascualita!" As happy as locals were to see that Pasquala was back in business and back on her feet, so to speak, they were a wee bit concerned about how much the mannequin looked like her deceased child. Other features of this mannequin also had people asking questions. The eyes, they weren't glassy and emotionless like you would expect from any other shop mannequin. They had life, they had sparkle, and they also seemed to track you as you moved. The mannequin's hair. It wasn't that cheap, shiny, untextured plastic hair you would expect. No. It was coarse, textured, imperfect, like a human being. Now the skin. Let's talk about the skin for a second, because the skin wasn't that matte, dry porcelain skin you would be looking for. No, it was waxy, with cracks and veins, almost human. When Pasquala's friends and neighbours saw this mannequin, they couldn't help but notice the attention to detail, and it had them wondering, was this just a mannequin? Pasquala herself couldn't ignore the rumours that would follow her around town, many calling into question things that the mannequin just shouldn't have, such as laughter lines around the eyes and mouth. Not only that, fingerprints on its finger pads left a lot of people wondering, was this just a mannequin, or was it La Pascualita herself? Pasquala was extremely hurt, understandably, by these accusations and even released a public statement. But as Jojo would sing, it's just too little too late, and the rumour began to grow. Local residents would even send threatening letters to Pasquala's home address, saying that it was ungodly and unsightly that they had a corpse bride on display in their city. But Pasquala refused to remove her, and pretty soon everyone was talking about La Pascualita. Some would even say that Pasquala, driven mad by grief, had her very own child embalmed and then placed her in her shop window as a constant joyous reminder of her child's wedding day. Lovely. Others would suggest that Pasquala, randomly becoming a dab hand at taxidermy, stuffed her own daughter. See guys, this is what happened in a time when we had no televisions. Now me, being the wee curious creep that I am, had to look into the plausibility of these theories, and I actually stumbled upon an amazing page called Ask a Mortician. Now this creator covered this particular case, and she stated in her medically professional opinion, did that sentence make sense, or have I just had too many Disaronnos? She said for someone like Pascuala, who had no medical background, to preserve someone for 90 plus years would be downright absurd and extremely unrealistic. If someone did try this at home, so to speak, they would really struggle, as the body would start to go all gooey and stinky. Even for someone to try this over a short period of time would require a very strict temperature-controlled environment, not a hot, humid Mexican shop window. I'm sure most of us here on this channel have heard of a man named Count Karl von Kossel. If you haven't, I suggest you look it up after your food's digested. The Count fell in love with a young, beautiful girl, however, so sad she was ill. And what did he do once she had passed away? He decided to preserve her for his own sick, necrophiliac fantasies. True love never dies. Over time, the Count would try and mummify her remains, replacing her eyes, hair, anything else that started falling off. So, is it possible that this little old lady succeeded where he failed? Probably not. The other theory of taxidermy also seems rather unlikely because, unlike our animal counterparts, we humans do not have fur, which is sad really. I think I'd look quite nice with some fur. But because of our lack of natural foliage, you wouldn't be able to hide the stitches required for the organ removal process. Slowly regretting that slice of apple pie now. There was also other theories as to how this mannequin became so realistic. One being the ghost of La Pascualita herself. Some would say that Pascuala, sad about her daughter's untimely death, decided to have just a regular mannequin made in her image. But behold her surprise when she found out that the ghost of her child was inhabiting the dummy itself. This would explain Pascuala's reluctance to have the mannequin removed, and also the claims that several staff members made about seeing the mannequin move through the store at night. Others would tell the tale of a French magician just casually strolling into town, and when he saw the mannequin, he fell in love. So what did he do? He reanimated her, of course. Allegedly, the two can still be seen dancing in the evening in front of the shop window. But whatever theory you believe, there's no denying that La Pascualita draws thousands of tourists to Chihuahua every year, and safe to say the staff at La Popular have definitely been milking it with their local legend. Several team members have mentioned that only authorised members of management are allowed to undress and redress the mannequin, and when it's done, it is done so behind a modesty curtain. This is probably because several ex-employees stated the fact that the mannequin had human characteristics such as cellulite, varicose veins, and sometimes if you caught her in the right light, she even looked as if she was breathing. Nope. Me personally, when I heard this story a few years back, I didn't believe it, partially because my fear of dolls wouldn't let me believe it was true. That all changed in 2018 when La Pascualita disappeared. Everyone was asking, where is the infamous mannequin? And we were given vague explanations that she was on an oddities tour for supernatural items. So everyone in Chihuahua just awaited her return. But when she came back, she was different. Her eyes were narrower, her skin smooth. This wasn't the once lifelike mannequin that stood in La Popular. These obvious changes left many to wonder why she had been replaced. Now, the new manager, who still works there to this day, insists that she wasn't exchanged, she was simply given a 2020 makeover. But for many decades, La Pascualita held a grip on the people of Chihuahua, Mexico, and the thousands who would come to visit her. It's said now that if you walk past the store, you don't get that same eerie feeling that you once did, and townsfolk say this is definitely not their little Pascuala. Is it possible the mannequin was switched? And if so, why was the old one taken away? I guess we'll never know the real story behind La Pascualita, and maybe that's for the best. But my lovelies, if like me, any of you are planning your upcoming wedding, as you pop on your gown and place your veil carefully in your hair, keep your eyes peeled for the notorious Black Widow spider. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I also hope that you still have some clean underwear on you. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up for me. It really helps my channel. If this is your first time watching and you would like to hear more about true crime, supernatural, murder, then please hit that subscribe button. You can also feel free to follow me. That's to all my audience out here, not to the diamonds. I have a Bible and I'm not afraid to use it. On Instagram at Megan TrueCrime. I love you all so much. So please take care of yourselves, lock your doors, don't talk to strangers, and also remember that the real Pascualita could still be out there. So as you're walking past the Christmas windows whilst you're shopping with your family, think to yourself, is that mannequin just a little bit too lifelike? See ya! I'm a woman of many talents.